Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Armor Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub call. Really, this is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
Armchair.
Do you think you can get me a tape of the show?
What on earth for?
Well, how often do you get to hear your song on the radio?
I'm on the radio every day.
You're listening to WQVZ, 1700 AM Mission Radio.
For me and the Lord, we got an understanding. We're on a mission from God.
No one talks in my meeting. No one. Think you can run this? If you could, then I wouldn't be here. Because I'm sick and tired of our football team getting pushed all over the field. I want precision. This is an institution of learning, ladies and gentlemen. You've tried it your way for years. They've given me less than 1 year to turn this place around. Forget about the way it used to be. This is not a damn democracy. We are in a state of emergency, and my word is law.
10 years ago, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from maximum security stockade. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire...
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. Yeah, the armchair quarterback. He's kind of fun.
Yeah, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome in, boys and girls. Good morning, Mr. Doug.
Good morning, good morning.
These Major League Baseball playoffs, holy crap. Man, they've been about as unpredictable. You know, just by the time you think you got it figured out that Seattle may be taking a commanding lead, they just absolutely spit the bit last night. What the hell's going on?
Look, the Mariners have been on a real hot streak going into the last part of the regular season into the playoffs. So I'm not surprised that they kind of spit the bed last night. I think they ran out of gas last night. So, and the Jays are offensively, they're dangerous. They can strike at any moment. I mean, they put up.
I think if you told me going into the game last night that the Blue Jays were going to win the game comfortably, I would have assumed that the bullpen just had a bad night. I didn't expect George Kirby to go out and have a bad outing like that. That was a horrific outing, especially after he has spotted the 2 runs. When a guy has a bad outing like that, you kind of expect it to be out the gate. It didn't really happen until the 3rd inning. In the 3rd inning, and I'm sitting here doing the game, obviously, but as I'm doing this game and I'm thinking along with the manager, I'm thinking the first sign of problems after he gave it the 2-run home run and then the hit right after that, I felt like somebody should have been right out there immediately to go talk to him. And instead, they let him kind of wallow around, and the next thing you know, they gave up 5. You're still in the game, but when Seattle came to bat the very next inning, it just felt like that the wind was out of their sails, and they were kind of going through the motions, and they never got it back. And of course, they go and tack on 1 run in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and then I think 4 in the 6th.
Yeah.
And the only sign of life Seattle had was the original 2-run home run with Hurod, and then you had the back-to-back jacks in the 8th inning. But by that time, the game was cooked by Arozarena and Cal Raleigh. Let me put it this way, they better win tonight, because if it goes back to 2-2, I think the Mariners are cooked because I don't see the Mariners winning 2 of the next 3 when 2 of them are in Toronto. They better win tonight and have a chance to close it out tomorrow night. And I could see them going back where they're up 3 games to 2, going back to Toronto, but only in the situation where they win tonight. Because if they lose tonight, I'm telling you, 2 of 3 with the last 2 being in Toronto, I think you put the win back in Toronto sales. Right now, Toronto's feeling good about themselves, but if they go out and lose tomorrow night, you may get a nothing burger on Friday from them. And tonight, you've got Max Scherzer versus Castillo, 2 pitchers that were much better years ago. Scherzer's been much better this year than he was last year. I still think he can be gotten to in the playoffs at this point.
And the thing is, I could almost say the same thing about Castillo as well.
Yeah. Obviously, you know him well. Being a Red
yeah, he's been an odd bird all season, but his just inconsistency, and that's why I'd be worried. I put more money on Max Scherzer having a better game tonight.
I would, except for the fact that Max Scherzer seems to always kind of fail me in the playoffs recently. And I'm talking about post 2019. Ever since then, when you get to late in the season, Max Scherzer seems to be running on fumes. Little different story this year, the way they manage his innings, but to me, for the Mariners to get the win tonight, they're going to have to score runs because I don't expect Castillo to shut them down. I can see Castillo giving you a good 4 innings, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after you get through that second time through the order, wherever you are in the game, if he's pitching well, if he's not pitching well, you better have somebody ready in the bullpen. He could have a no-hitter going, Doug, after that second time through the order. They better have somebody ready in that bullpen because the first sign of danger, they got to go out and get him. And you can't let him play with this food like you did with George Kirby last night. You got to go and get aggressive.
And that's where I'm worried about Scherzer because since he's been back, he's not finished. I don't think he's finished more than 5 innings in his last couple of outings. They're always pulling him in the 5th, no matter what. So yes, they got to have somebody in that bullpen ready. I mean, on a dime. First, I don't think he can go 6 innings. I really don't.
No, like I said, I think both of these guys, I'm looking for 4 innings, right? Yeah. And then after that, and once again, if he's pitching well, that's fine. But you gotta have somebody ready. Good morning to you, Peter and John. We see you in the chat. We're on X this morning. I have no idea if we can see the chat on X. So we're on Armchair Quarterback Radio, Armchair QB Radio on YouTube as well. This first time that we've tried doing this on X, so I have no idea. Real quick on the Brewers-Dodgers tonight, it's glass now. They still haven't announced a starter for Milwaukee. I'm assuming it's going to be some kind of a version of a bullpen. Do you give the Brewers any chance, not of winning the series, but any chance of winning tonight's game and avoiding a sweep because you've got Ohtani on the bump tomorrow?
No, the way these Dodgers pitchers, I mean, I'm practically calling them bullies. This Dodgers pitching staff has just been playing lights out. Who knew that they'd come in here and just be absolutely dominant? I mean, they're averaging these pitchers are playing this as well as the 81 Dodgers that in their playoff run in 1981 they were only giving up 2, and here their average ERA is down to what, 1.3.
Right.
I don't give the Brewers much of a chance here. This team is playing, this organization is playing lights out. They're playing like a machine right now. And who knew, considering they were mediocre at best during the regular season. It's like they took the regular season off and they go, oh, it's playoff time. Let's go ahead and show you what we played all our deferred money for.
Yeah, it's to me, it's amazing because the biggest Achilles heel that the Dodgers have is their bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only a rumor because you're not getting into the bullpen in this Milwaukee series. And the problem with the Milwaukee Brewers, it's been like this for years, and it continues to be a problem this year. They just don't have offensive firepower.
No.
Because offensive firepower costs money, and the Brewers are always at the top end of the bottom of the scale of spending money, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do a phenomenal job getting to the postseason every year, but every year they're hoping that their bats just get hot. And I get it. They're in a market where they can't really do anything else. But this is going to be the problem with the Brewers until it gets fixed somehow, or until they get like a core of young guys that can stick together for 4 or 5 years before they become free agents. The Brewers just don't kick through the door. Glass now is, with what little we've seen of him of this postseason, he was dominant. I expect him to be dominant again tonight. I'd be shocked being at home if he doesn't. Now he's a guy I don't expect to go deep into the game. So if Milwaukee can hold the line, then maybe they can steal one tonight. But then you got Ohtani on game 4. It's pretty much the same game plan. You got to try to hold the line and hope you can hang in there. I don't know how Milwaukee's going to get a W in these next 2 games.
Just like with the Dodgers, it's been the MO all even through the playoffs. They're averaging what, 6.5, 700 games. No matter how well they're pitching is. I just don't see it. The Brewers just don't, like you said, they don't have enough offense. Now, if they jump up to like a 5-0 lead and force maybe the Dodgers to lean on their bullpen,
right?
That would be that's the only chink in the Dodgers' armor. But that's easier said than done. Can you put up 5 or 6 runs against this pitching?
I don't even know if that's a path. I'm thinking for them to win a game, it's got to be 4-3. And the bullpen goes out and is dominant as they have been. And the starting pitching, which I think it sounds like it's going to be a bit of a bullpen game. Maybe you get Mizorowski. Maybe you go, you know what, kid, this is your big chance on the big stage. But anyway they do it. Peter's asking about the game. Peter, we got a doubleheader tonight, and I'm going to bring them both to you on Braves Country Radio on YouTube. It's 6 p.m. and the second game is like 8:30 p.m. It's right past that. I want to say it's 6:08. It's weird. There's 2 different times, although they're almost the same on back-to-back nights. Tonight it is 6:08 and 8:33, and then tomorrow night it's 6:08 and 8:38. Makes no sense why they're doing what they're doing, but that's what they're doing. Major League Baseball, bad job of overlaying these games. The fan's not going to be able to see both games in their entirety because there's no way game 1 of each night is done in 2.5 hours. These games have been averaging well over 3 hours. Last night we got through at about 3 hours, but that's because it was a blowout. Guys were giving away at bats at the end. But if you got a competitive game, there's no way these games are going to be on 2.5 hours. They're scheduling them like it's a regular season game in May, 2.5, and even then you don't get that. It's just I do not understand it. But anyways, back to the rest of the story. We'll go ahead and get into the football talk. But both games tonight are very pivotal because if Milwaukee loses tonight, they're going to fold up shop.
Yeah.
Right. If the Mariners lose tonight, I think the winner of this series, I think the winner of the game tonight in Seattle probably most likely 95% wins the series. Because if Seattle wins, they're probably going to find a way to punch their ticket on Friday. Blue Jays win. Even if Seattle wins on Friday, I don't know if they can go back into Toronto after getting down in the series and be able to pull that off. So, anyways, we move on to college football in the National Football League, where we give you all the point spreads and whatnot here. Fire into the chat if you got any questions. once again, I can see a bunch of folks that are watching over on X, but I have no idea if the comments come in because I was trying to pull it up on my X and I have no idea where the hell it is. But anyways, this experiment, I'll figure it out for next time for sure. Looking at this, I believe I would see your comments, but anyways, looking at this, we'll start with the survivor picks. Bobby's not here today. Normally it's a 3-man show. Bobby had a doctor appointment to go to, etc. Real quick, I'm just going to give you a survivor pick. Everything else is me and Doug. Bobby and I are doing the same thing on the survivor. We're both taking Kansas City. Doug took Philly last week, so he's out of this round. But Kansas City, what are they, like a 12-point favorite? And Doug's a Raiders fan. He can tell you as well as anybody. The Raiders have a great possibility of pulling an upset because of this rivalry. It's got nothing to do with the teams on paper. It's because of this rivalry.
Yep.
But I'm going with the Chiefs along with Bobby, mainly because they're at home. They seem to be playing a little better football now. Honestly, if the Chiefs were like 5-1, I would be more likely to take the Raiders as like a stupid underdog. But I'm going to stick with the Chiefs just like Bobby, and we move on from that. All right, into the world of the National Football League, and then we'll do our college football picks. We give you a 6-pack of picks, 3 NFL, 3 college every week. And Doug? All right, Doug, where are you going on your first pick in the National Football League?
I am going to Europe for the Jaguars-Rams game. What you got? I give me the under 44.5. These games, if you look at the last kind of 5 or 6 of the European games on average, it's always the same 41 or 42 point game totals. So definitely give me the under here. Also, just because the Jacksonville Jaguars last week, offensively, they just stunk up the bed last week. So I'm looking for a real close game and a low-scoring game.
All right. I put JAZ, but it's supposed to be JAX. I'm trying to do this without my glasses. I'm flying solo. So I'm trying to do – normally Bobby's the one putting this stuff in the chat. My first pick, I'm going to go with – let me see what time this game is. By the way, that London game is a 9:30 a.m. Sunday game. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys, Washington football team, Commanders, Redskins, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. They're getting 1.5, and I think Dallas is going to win this game because it's in Dallas. Dallas really hasn't been playing terrible football. I know they got the loss against Carolina last week, but the Commanders haven't looked spectacular either. And I'm going with the idea that it is the I'm going with the idea that because they're the home team in this rivalry and Dak Prescott has been throwing the ball well, I don't think we get CeeDee Lamb back this week, but he is getting closer. You're no longer getting the updates of no way in hell is he going to play. Now it's a questionable, right? So give me the Cowboys plus 1.5. What is your next pick?
My next pick is the Falcons and the 49ers. The 49ers, just when you thought they were beat up enough, Fred Warner is gone. And I think that puts the Falcons on par as being really as good as the 49ers.
Sunday night, as Doug continues to try to learn how to do this. What is this, 5-6 years you've been with us? 8:20 Sunday night, Falcons 49ers. What line you got?
I'll give me the Falcons plus 2.5. I think they can actually win this football game.
On the road on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you someone who's a quasi Falcons fan. Good luck. You then do back-to-back nights. They play well on Monday night games. I have no faith in that. By the way, real quick, I do want to put this up on the screen because I forgot to do it at the very beginning. That is those are our standings right now as I take the Dallas thing off the screen. You got the stupid underdog pick, which we'll do here right after this. We'll explain that when we get there. Locks, Doug is doing well. He's 4-2. Bobby 3-3, and then the 6-pack of picks. You can see the numbers well there. The reason why the red, the yellow, the green, that's how we finished last year. So that's how that breaks down. All right. You're taking the Falcons plus 2.5. I'm telling you where I'm going with, because you can get this on, I believe I saw minus 120, minus 125 for this pick. The Carolina Panthers are, 1 o'clock on Sunday. They're at the Jets. They're still just a 1.5. I'm willing to pay the juice on the money line because I don't want to get screwed in a 12 to 11 type of victory, 13-12. Give me the Carolina Panthers money line at the Jets. This Jets team, first of all, I don't know what in the hell was going on with Denver last week. They should have on paper, if you look at the box score, they dominated the game, but they couldn't get points on. I think Carolina's playing good football, and they're going to find a way to get enough points to beat this. This Jets team it's unbelievable how bad they are.
That's right. Yeah, they're so bad. I stay away from making a. Yeah, I wouldn't even make a betting pick for or against them. They're so bad. That's why. The stink factor is high.
All day long. The Jets are terrible, and if a team loses to the Jets, it's because they didn't come prepared.
Nah.
They're not even going to have Garrett Wilson. I just think a lot of this is people looking at the fact that the Panthers are 0-3 on the road, and I get that, but I don't expect them to go 0-8, and this is a perfect opportunity. And the Jets, they are the worst team in football right now. He's lost the locker room. Garrett Wilson's out now, and you can just tell that there's not a lot of faith in what's going on there. What is your third and final pick for the – did I not get yours on?
I think you put yours and mine together. You got the Carolina money line, and then
that was by design because I'm doing this by solo.
Gotcha.
Because you don't understand technology, Doug. I have to do this solo. What is your third and final pick?
My third one is give me the Saints in the plus 4.5 against the Bears. The Bears are coming off. I know they won, and I think they're kind of smelling themselves. They're coming off a short week. I think this is a good spot for the Saints to take it to them.
All right. Yeah, the Saints are bad too. I'm interested to see how the Bears respond coming off of Monday night and a big win. They come home. This is a game that they should go to 4 wins in a row. The Saints are coming in. Saints, if the Jets are the worst team, the Saints are definitely the second worst team in football.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't expect the Bears to blow anybody out. I think it's always going to come down to how they manage the fourth quarter. I actually thought about this game. I just don't like the line. I don't like the minus 4.5 because the Saints can play close enough to you to make you sweat. I guess is where I'm going at.
Saints stay away in all their games. They kind of creep around and stay around. That's why.
All right. My last one is going to be a teaser. And let me see. I know some news broke yesterday. I want to make sure that the line hasn't moved. So I'm being honest with this. Yeah. Okay. It's still right where it's at. All right. So Minnesota is getting 1.5. I'm going to tease that up to 7.5. They are getting on this teaser now plus 7.5 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And Detroit, if I tease this down, all they've got to do is win the game. The Bucs have not played well against the Lions, especially in Detroit. If Baker Mayfield had a healthy receiving core, I'd probably ride with the Buccaneers. But at some point, you can't expect this man to do everything. He's still my front runner for the MVP in the National Football League right now. But there's only so many injuries that you can now it looks like we might get Mike Evans back this week. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, a 1-man, 2-man show. And it doesn't sound like Bucky Irving is going to play this week. So you're really going in there with your B squad going into Detroit. It's Monday Night Football. Lions usually show up for games like this. And this seems like a get-right spot for the Lions. So all I need is the Lions to win and Minnesota to stay within a touchdown. Carson Wentz, I'm not going with the revenge factor. I'm going with the fact that I don't think the Eagles are playing very good football. All right, Doug, let's go ahead and get into our stupid underdogs.
There's no need to fear.
Stupid
Underdog is here.
Stupid underdog. Stupid underdog.
All right, Doug, what you got on your stupid underdog?
Stupid underdog. We're going to a 7:00 game on Peacock Channel with Penn State and Iowa. I got my upset pick is I'm just taking Penn State in the 2.5 points. I think this is with James Franklin being fired, which seems to be part of the problem why they fell apart. I just see Penn State just taking it to Iowa and basically winning a game for pride.
Yeah, that's a tricky spot there. By the way, if I would have told you 3 weeks ago that Penn State would be an underdog at Iowa, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Was there a bus crash for the team bus? What the hell's going on here? That thing spiraled out quickly. I did not expect them to fire them as quick as they did. Did you see the weird clause that he has in his contract on the buyout? I don't know if I've ever seen this before. They're saying that he has to show that he's trying to get either another head coaching job or a job in football media, so like television or whatnot, and then they would pay the difference. So in other words, he can't just sit on his can. And I don't know if any of these other if any of these coaches have that in their contract. It's never been stated before.
I've never even heard of a contract like that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are all kinds of jokes going around. Because why doesn't he just why doesn't North Carolina fire Bill Belichick's ass and then just hire him on like a grad assistant, $30,000 salary? The rest is history. I mean, I'm thinking if I'm James Franklin, I'm going to build myself on the TV side. Someone's going to hire him, right?
Yeah.
He's going to, in the difference, Penn State will pay, and he can kind of reset, because every guy that goes to the television market, he builds his brand so the next time he goes back into it, he can cherry pick where he wants to go. Look at John Gruden. Everybody is talking about him on every coaching job. Even Dan Mullen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm James Franklin, that's what I do. I'm gonna go take a job at wherever, Big Ten Network, wherever. You're gonna pay the difference. Don't care. And I'm gonna see if I'm any good at this, because it may be something I want to do. Hell, it might be something I find out that, you know what, I'm done with coaching. I want to do this. But it's an interesting way for a guy to. Irving is out, John. Okay, I thought he was. I wasn't 100% sure. He was on my queue on all my fantasy teams. So I guess they did finally say that Bucky Irving was out. I thought they might wait a little bit because of it being late in the week for the ball game. But anyways, back to the college football talk. There's talk about, there's a report. I don't even know how damn accurate these reports are, but there was a report came out of Yahoo. You would hope they've done some research that Florida's close to firing Billy Ball down in Gainesville. Yeah, they're a pretty heavy favorite this weekend. What if he blows out Mississippi State? I don't see that happening. Do you?
No, I don't see it happening at all. I don't see a blowout at all against Mississippi State. Mississippi State's actually a better team than people give them credit for. So their defensively is the only thing that's going to keep them in.
Yeah, exactly. I would be shocked if they lose, and I think you have to fire them off a loss. You can't fire them off a win. I mean, I guess you could fire them if the game ends up being 10-9, and the fans are like, "Bleh." I don't want to watch that crap again. I guess you can, in theory. I've been saying since the spring that he wasn't going to make it past the Georgia game, but we're only a few weeks away from that. And the simple arithmetic of that goes with the Georgia-Florida game. If you look at Georgia-Florida, so Florida is sitting at 2-4 right now, 1-2 in the SEC. That's the broad strokes.
Right.
They're playing Mississippi State this weekend. Then they get a week off, and then they play Georgia. And I think that's where it's coming from, is people are saying you could fire them on Sunday morning and give the interim coach, whoever you decide to give the reins to, 2 weeks to get ready for Georgia. But couldn't you do the same thing if he's there?
Yeah.
Because it's still essentially the same. To me, if he blows out Mississippi State or beats them soundly, you fire him, you're going to lose that locker room. Because the kids are going to go, what the hell, man? We just won. So if you're going to fire him, you need to have fired him last Saturday night, last Sunday morning.
Yeah, it should have been done already.
Right. Now you're going into a situation where if they get their lunch handed to them by Georgia, then the kids understand the next week. And you're playing Kentucky, and really does it matter at that point, because at that point you're going to have 5 losses. You can still make a bowl game, but at that point, after the Georgia game, they get Kentucky, which is where you would fire them if Georgia were to embarrass them.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State. The Tennessee and Florida State games are at home to finish the season. Ole Miss is on the road. I think he gets fired before they face Ole Miss, because when they go into town, they're going to go, "Hey, Lane Kiffin, can we talk for a moment?" That's just the way I feel it's going to go down. But anyways, we go to my stupid underdog pick. My stupid underdog pick. Doug is a die-hard Notre Dame fan, so we hope he doesn't take this personally. I'm going to take the Southern Cal Trojans plus 9.5 on the stupid underdog. I just look at this as a rivalry game, number one. And number two, that Southern Cal team's a lot better than I expected them to be. A lot better. And look, I get it. It's in South Bend, and Notre Dame needs to blow a team like Southern Cal out of the water to help their playoff chances. But I think this is going to come down to the last possession. So if nothing else, I do believe I'm going to cover the spread. So give me Southern Cal. I was hoping it was going to creep up to 10.5, but it's still at 9.5. All right, let's go ahead and get our college football 6-pack before we start jamming out of here. All right, Mr. Doug, where are you going on your first pick of the college football 6-pack we're giving today?
12 noon on ESPN. I've got Georgia Tech playing Duke. I'm taking Georgia Tech. I can't believe they're the underdog. They're a ranked team, and Duke is getting 1.5 points. I don't understand it. It's been happening to Georgia Tech for the last couple of games. I just give me Georgia Tech and the plus 1.5. It's kind of the dumbest dog. If you got a stupid underdog, this is like the dumbest dog of the week.
What that tells you, for folks who may be new to the betting world, is that on a neutral site, Georgia Tech's a slight favorite, because usually these college football stadiums, and it depends on the stadium, but you get either somewhere between 3 to 4.5 points swung your way. So if it's a neutral site, Georgia Tech is looked upon as basically a pick 'em, but Duke's getting the nod because they're at home. Now, look, I agree with you. I like Georgia Tech, but then again, I've kind of started pulling for Georgia Tech over the last few years, mainly because I love watching that quarterback play. But Duke's 2 losses are a blowout loss against Illinois. I watched that game. The score's not indicative of how close Duke played that game until the final second half of the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost at Tulane. Tulane's a solid football program. There's no shame in that. They soundly beat what is no longer looked upon as a very good NC State team. And then they blew out Syracuse in California on the road. They come home. I'm not touching this game this week, but if I was going to, I would definitely be leaning your way. My first pick, we go to the Southeastern Conference, and this game to me seems a little strange. It's 48.5 is the over-under. It's a noon kickoff. We all know how college kids normally come out sluggish. In Nashville, which I've been to many of those games. They're playing at First Bank Stadium, but I've been to many of those games in Nashville, the college football side of it. There's not the rah-rah. It's not like they're playing in Death Valley. LSU Vanderbilt, the over-under is 48.5, and I just don't see how they get to that number. I think it's going to be two really good defenses. I think Vanderbilt's going to play a smart college football game, meaning they're going to try to win this game but not lose it. They're not going to put the ball in the air a whole lot. And you're going to, at the end, whoever wins this game, I think it's like 20 to 17 best case scenario. Good to see you, Richard Talley. So give me LSU and give me Vanderbilt on the under 48.5. That's not that big of a over under in college football these days, but it feels enormous to me considering those two offenses. All right, Doug, what you got?
I got this is probably one of my favorite games of the season. I got Ole Miss in Georgia at 3:30 on ABC. Give me Ole Miss plus the 7.5. Always remember, Ole Miss this season is 3-0 against ranked opponents against the spread, and I think Ole Miss's offense will keep up with Georgia. Georgia plays slow. I could see Ole Miss jumping on top like 14-0, and then it just becomes a dogfight for the rest of the game. And I think a lot of people are kind of like don't respect Ole Miss at their 5 position. They're starting to think that, oh, this is where they're going to fall apart. I don't think so. I love that Ole Miss offense, and I think it's going to be a fantastic game. So, yeah, give me Ole Miss plus 7.5.
Yeah, that Ole Miss game. By the way, did you see the clip of Lane Kiffin trolling Kirby Smart?
No, I did not.
So, I was telling this story during the broadcast last night, but the short of it is, just to cut to the chase, they are good friends. So it was said in jest. They asked Lane Kiffin about who burns more calories on the sidelines, talking about how demonstrative both of them are and how animated they are on the sidelines, both of them, raising Cain. And Kiffin made the joke. He said, I don't know. I just saw Kirby a few minutes ago. It doesn't look like to me that he burns many calories. Funny as hell. If he ends up leaving Ole Miss, I don't think he would. I think he'd be an idiot to leave Ole Miss. But if he leaves Ole Miss to go to Florida, what fun would that rivalry be? Especially Florida Georgia week. I mean, it would be really. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, if Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss to go to Florida, there's gonna be a line waiting to take that Ole Miss job, because Ole Miss is perfectly happy with being ranked in the top 10, even if they never win a national title with Lane Kiffin, because he's made them relevant again. They're gonna wreck the statue. He goes to Florida, it's going to be like all the other Florida coaches. Within 3 years, they're going to be talking about his replacement.
Yep.
Unrealistic expectations in that fan base. They always have and they always will. Anybody that takes that Florida Gator job is playing with fire. You better go in and you better be Urban Meyer. You better cut all corners and be willing to accept all serial killers to let yourself win, because if you go in and have a 9-win season, they're going to go, we got to get rid of them. Doug, this is one of the first times I think we've played this in a while.
Double down.
I'm gonna double down with you. I'm taking Ole Miss with the plus 7.5. I just think this is a one possession game. Georgia probably wins because it's between the hedges, but it would not shock me if Ole Miss pulled off the upset. What is your next pick?
I got another fun game in the SEC. Tennessee and Alabama, 7:30 on ABC. Tennessee, the thing about this game, Tennessee every year, and I've watched this game year after year, Tennessee always plays up to Alabama when they play. Tennessee's got a good offense, okay defense, but I can see Tennessee just similar to the Ole Miss game. Similar to the Ole Miss game. Just so give me Tennessee plus 7.5. Tennessee's offense will keep them in this game. And I think this one, just like the Ole Miss game, could come down to a last possession.
All right. So Tennessee plus 7.5. And I'm going to go ahead and give you one more teaser. So it's off of that Tennessee spread is that I'm going to take the Vols plus 13.5, excuse me, on a 6-point spread. So give me the Vols plus 13.5 as Doug continues to run his escort service in the background.
Yeah.
Okay. Plus 13.5 on that. And then let me see what time this, I think it's a later game, but let me double check. Top 25 matchup. You've got Saturday. See what time this game actually kicks off Eastern time. Yeah, it is down at the bottom. Well, it's not too late. 8:00 Eastern. BYU is getting 3.5. Give me the tease to 9.5. BYU plus 9.5 on the teaser. They are hosting Utah. And this is a big rivalry. I don't think a lot of people realize how big of a rivalry this is in the grand scheme of things. I messed up that typing, but it's supposed to be plus 9.5, plus 13.5. Not going back and fixing it. My right hand man will be back tomorrow next week to be able to put this on the screen much easier. But I'm taking the Vols. I'm taking BYU on the teaser. I just don't see. I would love for this line to get to 4 or 4.5. I don't know if it will by kickoff, but nonetheless, 9.5 to me is going to be enough for BYU to cover. They're at home. Provo. This is a huge in-state rivalry, and I just think they keep it competitive. And BYU, once again, they're one of these teams. In fact, I had a buddy that was telling me the other day over a beer. He said, "Man, I don't know why BYU doesn't get more love as far as, you don't hear about them. They're never ranked." And I said, "Dude, they're at the time I think they were ranked 16th. They moved up a spot this week." I said, "Dude, they're ranked number 16. They're undefeated." He goes, "What?" I said, "They're undefeated." He goes, "See, I didn't even know that. I watch college football." It's exactly what he said. I said, they go under the radar because they're always playing at like 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday on the Ocho or something, right? But anyways, give me the BYU Cougars and the Tennessee Volunteers on a teaser. All right, Doug, we are to the locks portion of the show. What is your lock for the week?
My lock is 4:00 on Fox. We got Texas Tech and Arizona State. Definitely give me Texas Tech to cover that 7.5.
Texas Tech minus 7.5.
Yep. People don't realize the one thing I was going to say about this game too. People don't realize how good Texas Tech is. I think they're kind of a disrespected team. That defensive front. Look, they should do a commercial for an NILS commercial and just take a picture of that defense. The $4 million they paid for that defense. That defense, the only defenses I think that are playing better than they, especially that front seven, are Miami and Ohio State are probably the only ones who are as good as far as that defensive front seven. So, yeah, Texas Tech is a kind of a dark horse a dark horse team this year. So yeah, but Texas Tech minus 7.5.
All right. I'm gonna go with a. Well, I guess this was my lock. I jotted it down last night, and I guess I didn't realize I double dipped over here. But give me Southern Cal, and you know what? No, I'm going to change that. Give me Southern Cal on a teaser to take me to plus 15.5. And I'm going to take the Tennessee Volunteers on a teaser at plus 13.5. I just think Tennessee's going to play Alabama very close.
Yep, I do too.
This rivalry has been extremely close. People are blowing it out of the water that Alabama's fixed it. They're back, baby. They're back. Remember, this team got dragged by Florida State, and Florida State's not a good football team, in my opinion. Okay.
And they got roughed up even though they won. Missouri kept them within 3 the whole game last week. So
exactly. I'm going to take plus 13.5 with the Vols. I'm going to take, was it 15.5? USC plus 15.5. And I would be shocked if that doesn't cover. I'm more concerned about the Tennessee score not covering. And John says that the U2 is jacked up. Okay. I have no idea. I'm not looking at it, John. I'll see something else. I know we were having issues last night of people getting the game at the very, very beginning. Let me see what he's talking about. But anyways, USC Vols plus 13.5, plus 15.5. That is my pick. Doug, what is your cool game of the week?
Oh, I'll go right back to it. The cool game of the week is definitely that I'm loving this Tennessee Alabama game. That's my cool game of the week.
I don't know what he's talking about. He says is still jacked up for comments on live. Errors need to keep restarting. I see the comments on there, John, and I see your comments, so I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it's something more specific that I'm not understanding, whatever you're talking about. Okay. Let me see. If you can put more details in there, John, I'd appreciate it. But if not, I have no idea what you're talking about. So maybe he's having a hard time putting in comments. Excuse me. All right, my cool game of the week. Which one did you go with? I apologize.
Tennessee, Alabama. That's just good old fashioned football.
Do we still? Yeah, we got it. All right, if you're going to go with Tennessee, Alabama, I'm going to have to go with Georgia, Ole Miss. I know it's kind of low-hanging fruit that we both pick games in the Southeastern Conference. Honestly, one of the games I'm looking forward to the most is that Southern Cal Notre Dame game, because that's going to probably eliminate one of those teams from contention on an at-large playoff spot. But Ole Miss, Georgia, I still got to see it out of Georgia. I'm telling you, what we've seen from the Bulldogs this year, they have not been very impressive. They got the weird refereeing in the Auburn game. We didn't get a chance to get into that, but they won that game by 10. But Auburn, how good really is Auburn, right? They lost to Alabama. I'm still not convinced. That Tennessee game, Tennessee missed a field goal, a shank shot, or Georgia may have 2 losses right now.
Yeah.
And they've got a couple of tough games. They got Ole Miss. They've got the rivalry game against Florida, and they still have to play Texas. By the way, I'm still not buying into Texas yet. I know they beat Oklahoma. I think that may be more of the fact that Oklahoma is not nearly as good. And I almost took them on the stupid underdog. But keep an eye on the point spread itself. I didn't make it as part of my 6-pack, but I like Kentucky getting the 12.5. It was up to 13.5 yesterday. We'll see if it goes back up. Texas is going to be smelling themselves going into Kentucky on a night game against Mark Stoops' defense, and that's usually a problem.
Yes.
All right. What is your one big thing that'll happen this weekend as we walk this off?
One big thing. I thought it's interesting. We're talking about USC Notre Dame. Lincoln Riley has been trying to avoid this game since last summer. He has tried to get this game canceled, and he's already calling for it again to eliminate this rivalry once and for all. So I have to. So my one thing is, I think Notre Dame is going to go to USC. I think they're going to stomp on them. That you got a coach who's too scared to play us. So look for Notre Dame to put on the prestige points. Goodbye, USC. And hopefully
it's in South Bend, by the way.
And it's in South Bend. Yeah, he wants.
They're not going to go to USC. USC is going to come to them.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but he wants to eliminate the game altogether. He wants to. He doesn't want to play Notre Dame anymore.
They've been talking about that for a long time, and now no longer does it really benefit Southern Cal. And I kind of get it, because I hate it from the college football tradition standpoint of it, but Notre Dame needs to get their ass into the Big Ten, and then all this is a moot point.
Yeah.
Southern Cal is in the Big Ten now, where Notre Dame should be. If Southern Cal eliminates the Notre Dame game, it just helps them play a cupcake, because now they're in the Big Ten and they're worried about winning that conference.
Yeah.
Back when Southern Cal was in the Pac-10, Pac-12 and playing Notre Dame, they needed that game because nobody gave a lot of notoriety to the teams that they were beating out west.
Yeah.
Now things have changed. So I get it, but as a college football purist, and from your standpoint as a Notre Dame fan, I understand why you'd be upset about it, but I understand why USC is like, we've been doing this for 100 years. Enough is enough. But the one way to eliminate that is for Notre Dame to join the Big Ten, and then they make that one of their traditional rivalries, and they go ahead and play every year.
I wish they would too. They're just so stuck on being in it. They've always been an independent, and I'd probably take a lot of money to try to convince them to come play in the Big Ten. I mean, a lot of money.
Yeah, I get that. What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to miss the playoffs a few years in a row, even though they've slanted the rules to make it very, very easy for Notre Dame to get in. They're going to have to slant the hell out of the rules, and Notre Dame still not make it a few years in a row before the Notre Dame powers that be go, man, we're missing out on playoff money. What the hell are we doing?
Yep.
That's the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 2 losses. I still think if they run the table, they're going to go to the playoffs. But let them get screwed the way Florida State got screwed, which obviously would be a much bigger deal when Florida State got screwed because they were undefeated. But let them be on the outside looking in with 2 losses. And the committee say, you just haven't done enough. And you're not a conference champion, so to hell with you. Let that happen. And the Notre Dame alum and all the powers that be are going to be like, we got to get into a damn conference. I don't give a damn what it is. I don't care if it's the ACC, the Big 12. It makes more sense for them to be in the Big 10. But
yeah, it does.
That made a lot, and back when I used to make that big argument about it, we didn't have teams like Southern Cal and Oregon in the Big 10. Now the Big 10 doesn't mean what it used to mean, but Notre Dame should be in the Big 10.
Yep.
My one big thing as we walk this off is that we're going to see it shake up in the polls. Vanderbilt's going to beat LSU. I firmly believe that. Vanderbilt is going to beat LSU, and watch the overreactions on Monday from all the LSU faithful. They're going to say, yeah, fire Kelly, blah, blah, blah. The same old crap they always say right after he loses a game. You're going to have that happen. You're going to have, by the way, how about Indiana being ranked number 3 in the country? How about that?
Yeah.
Either Ole Miss or Georgia are going to lose. We know that to be true. And I do think you're going to get a couple more upsets. Maybe it's Kentucky shocking Texas. Maybe it's Southern Cal shocking Notre Dame. Maybe it's a situation where Missouri, who is right now looks like that they're on the right track, but they just played a tough game. Do they lose at Auburn on the Plains on a Saturday night? Utah and BYU, somebody's got to lose there. We're going to have actual carnage this weekend, one way or the other, and that I cannot wait for, because that's when you know, and we're getting, about 2 or 3 weeks away before the College Football Committee starts putting out their top 12. Doug, great job. We will see you next week. Bobby will be back, and I'll try to figure out what in the hell John's talking about here. I'm going to try to put in a comment just as we end the show. Y'all have a great one. See you next Thursday, 9 a.m. right here on Armchair QB Radio.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's closing time, y'all. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Have a great one. On your way out, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to tip your favorite bartender. We'll see you. I'm Magee, signing off for Braves Country Radio.